There are moments in history that serve as a deep, painful reminder of how far we have to go. They are stories that must be told. They must be remembered. I want to talk about a name that many of you may not know, but it is a name we must all carry in our hearts. His name was Mack Charles Parker. He was a 23-year-old black man living in Mississippi in 1959. He was accused of a crime he did not commit. He was arrested and put in a jail cell in the small town of Poplarville. He was waiting for his day in court, a right that should belong to every single person in this country. But that day never came for him. On a cold April night, something terrible happened. A group of masked white men broke into the jail. The jailer left the doors unlocked for them. They dragged Mack Charles Parker from his cell, beating him mercilessly. He was taken from the one place that was supposed to keep him safe. He was thrown into a car and driven to a bridge over the Pearl River. There, in the darkness, he was shot and his body was thrown into the water below. His story is a heartbreaking example of the brutal reality of racial violence that has stained our nation's soul for far too long. The story of Mack Charles Parker is not just about one man. It is about a promise that was broken. It is a story of terror, of hatred, and of a community that looked the other way. What happened after Mack Charles Parker's body was found is a lesson in what we call institutional betrayal. This is a powerful idea. It means that the very systems designed to protect us, the police, the courts, the government, are the ones that cause harm. They do this not just by failing to act, but by actively covering up the truth. They erase the story of the victim. They protect the guilty. In the case of Mack Charles Parker, the FBI investigated. They knew who the killers were. They had names, they had confessions. The evidence was clear as day. The truth was right there in their hands. Despite all the evidence, the system chose to bury it. A local grand jury made up of all white members refused to even look at the FBI's findings. They refused to indict. Not one person was ever held accountable. It was as if the murder never happened. The official record was wiped clean. This is the deepest kind of betrayal. When the institutions of justice decide that your life does not matter, when they decide that your pain is not worth acknowledging, they silence the truth, and in doing so, they tried to erase Mack Charles Parker from history. Now, you may be thinking that a story from 1959 feels like a long time ago. You might think it has nothing to do with you today, but I am here to tell you that the echo of that betrayal is all around us. How many of us in our own lives have felt erased? How many of you have experienced a deep pain, only to be told by a person or a system that it didn't happen, or that it wasn't a big deal? Maybe it was a boss who dismissed your complaint, a school that ignored your child's struggle, or a justice system that made you feel like a number instead of a person. This feeling of being unheard is a trauma all its own. When you bravely tell your truth and are met with silence or denial, it can break your spirit. It makes you question your own reality. You start to wonder, did that really happen? Am I overreacting? Am I the one who is wrong? This is the power of erasure. It isolates you. It makes you feel alone in your suffering. It is the same tool that was used to bury the truth of what happened to Mack Charles Parker. The system tried to make his story disappear, just as sometimes the world tries to make our pain disappear. So many people walk around with this invisible wound, the wound of being betrayed by someone or something they were supposed to trust. It could be a family that refused to acknowledge abuse. It could be a doctor who dismissed your pain. It could be going through a legal battle that left you feeling broken and unseen. Each of these moments is a small death to the soul. It is the feeling that your story, your experience, your very existence does not have value. This shared experience of being invalidated connects us directly to the legacy of historical injustices, like the one Mack Charles Parker endured. The pain is real. Your pain is real. Whether it comes from a historical horror or a personal heartbreak, the feeling of being erased is universal. It is a profound injustice to your spirit. So what do we do with this pain? What do we do when we feel broken and erased by the world? This is where the real work begins. This is where you find your power. After the betrayal, after the hurt, you are left with a choice. You can let that pain define you and silence you forever. Or you can choose to stand up and claim your story. You can decide that your truth matters, even if the world told you it didn't. This is the moment of transformation. It is the moment you stop waiting for someone else to validate you, and you start validating yourself. This is the ultimate act of self-love. Claiming your story means embracing all of it, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. It means looking at your wounds not as a source of shame, but as a source of strength. Your scars prove you have survived. They are a testament to your resilience. Mac Charles Parker's story was almost erased. Historians, activists, his family refused to let it go. They kept speaking his name. They claimed his story for him. In the same way, you must become the keeper of your own truth. You must be the one to say, "This happened to me, it was real, and I am still here." This is what I mean when I say the solution is all in. It means you stop fighting against your past. You stop trying to cut off the parts of you that hurt. Instead, you bring them all in. You integrate every experience into the person you are today. The pain you endured can become the source of your greatest compassion. The injustice you faced can become the fuel for your purpose. You can turn your deepest wound into your greatest wisdom. This doesn't mean the pain goes away, but it does mean that the pain no longer controls you. You control the story. Your life is your own powerful narrative. You are the author. By embracing every chapter, you become whole. And when you are whole, you become a force for change. You become a light for others who are lost in the dark. The story of Mac Charles Parker teaches us about the depths of injustice, but the act of remembering him teaches us about the power of truth. Let your own story be a beacon of that same power. Claim it, own it, and use it to build a world where no one is ever erased again. That is how you turn pain into purpose. That is how you find your way back to hope.